Learning how to reload ammunition in regards to SHTF prepping is a good idea. It provides you with many benefits that aren't as face value as just saving money. So, I'm not going to teach you how to reload, but we are going to discuss 5 benefits of reloading for preppers. This is something you should definitely consider learning how to do, even if you're not blowing through thousands of rounds of ammunition every single day. But if you are doing that and you're worried about prepping for SHTF scenarios, then hit the subscribe button below because these are the things we talk about here. Now, the first benefit of reloading ammunition for prepping isn't what you would think it would be. And in my opinion, the very first benefit is that it creates a valuable skill which makes you an asset to a preparedness community. If you're the only one who knows how to reload ammunition, you're suddenly going to be very valuable. And it's not a super difficult endeavor to learn. In fact, I figured it out, which means many of you could easily figure it out as well. But by becoming a reloader, if you're the only one in the group that can do it, guess who's very important all of a sudden when it comes to maintaining certain levels of ammunition? And I think that could be a huge game changer, especially for those of you that don't necessarily know what you can provide to your mutual assistance group. If you don't have the background of being like a doctor or a medic, or maybe you're not a mechanic or an electrician or any of those things, this is a skill or even a trade, you could consider it, that you could learn in order to provide that value to your group. So I think the number one benefit of reloading is actually becoming an asset for your group and having a skill that gives you more value, okay? Now, the second benefit of reloading for SHTF prepping is a little bit more obvious. It's giving you the ability to replenish your supplies. Ammunition, once it gets used, is going to need to be replaced. And reloading allows you to replace it more easily, especially if you can stock up on components when they're accessible, affordable, and you can get a lot of reloading components in comparison to fully loaded cartridges based on the price at the time. So, in my opinion, the second benefit of reloading for prepping is obviously going to be that you can replenish your supply of ammunition. And that's really one of the main drivers, of course, but it just helps make that whole process a little bit smoother other than just relying on whatever you can stockpile from the factory pre-SHTF. Now, before we go further, I do want to mention that Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel. And of course, they have everything you need when it comes to reloading, including components like powder and primers. And if you have never reloaded before, but you think that, hey, learning this skill might be a good idea, so I have that value for my community, well, make sure you check out their reloading kits, because basically for about 130 to 150 bucks, you can get a base level reloading kit that'll get you every tool you need to get started. And I think that's a great way to go because that's exactly what I did. So check out what they have to offer over at Midway. Big thanks to them. Now, the third benefit to reloading for preppers is going to be that it can save you money. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say sort of here. And what I mean by that is it depends on what it is you're reloading. Are you reloading 300 blackout? Okay, that might save you some money. But if you're reloading 9mm or 45 ACP or 5.56, right? At that point, you have to weigh out if you're actually saving money or if you're just reloading it to reload it. Because in all honesty, with how cheap 9mm and 5.56 can be had, you have to actually put your time into that equation of value. And if you're spending hours and hours reloading 9mm because it saves you 10 or 15 cents per round, well, how much is your time worth? And then that's part of the equation that you have to add in. And that's why I don't personally reload a lot of 9mm or 5.56. It's cheaper and spends less of my time in order just to stockpile it. But if you're reloading niche calibers like 300 Blackout, 460 Smith & Wesson, maybe you have some nice top-end rifle calibers that you like to play around with, like 300 Win Mag or 338 Lapua or whatever it is, well, then that starts to make a lot more sense. So you can save money by reloading, but it has to be applied to certain cartridges in order for that to be true. And that's just my opinion because I value my time quite a bit. And I don't think that the savings that I can get by reloading things like 9mm and 5.56 is actually worth it. Now, is it good to have the components to be able to do so? So post SHTF, you can then reload 9mm or 5.56? Well, of course, and you should have those components. But in the sense of recreation or training or having it on hand ready to go, not necessarily a money saver in my opinion. So, the fourth benefit of reloading for preppers, what's it gonna be? Well, for me, and this is probably true for many of you, especially during, 2020, is that you could keep training during a shortage. If you had all the components on hand, and suddenly an ammo shortage occurs and you can't go out and buy more ammunition, at least you can reload the casings that you already have because of the ammunition you're out shooting and training with, and then reload it up and then shoot it again. So reloading can help you maintain your training efficiency during an ammunition shortage, which is why components are good to stockpile while you can, while they're affordable and available. And right now, they're still not as affordable as they used to be, but they are there. So it's still not a bad idea to get more of it, right? I even saw small rifle primers available on Midway when I was looking in order to create this video. And I'm like, I haven't seen those around for a while, and they are way more expensive than they ever deserve to be, but at least they're here. So keep that in mind, but yes, you can keep training and keep shooting even during a shortage and not feel like you're gonna fully run out of ammunition, or at least that's kind of how I look at it. And what's the fifth benefit of reloading for preppers? Because I think there are a lot of reasons why you should learn how to reload, even if it's not like something you're doing specifically to go out shooting or get a lot of rounds ready to go or anything like that. Just as a skill, I think it's an important thing to have. Now, the fifth benefit is something that would require a little bit more focus on said skill. And to me, this is one of the biggest reasons why people reload. And it's because you can dial in loadings. You can dial in a loading that just fits perfectly with your rifle and just runs in harmony with whatever rifle system or even pistol system that you're using it for and gives you the best accuracy possible from that system. And dialing in these loads allows you to ensure that your rifle is going to be as accurate as humanly possible. And in many cases, it also allows you to back off some of the recoil or lengthen the service life of that platform because you're not blowing it out to the edge every time you run a super high pressured round through it. So there's a lot of reasons why dialing in that loading can definitely help you out. And in a preparedness sense, let's just say maybe you're an Overwatch person as part of your group and you want to make sure that those rounds give you first round hits as often as possible. Dialing that load in order to make it as accurate as humanly possible might be the way to go there. And you can only really do that with hand loads. You can't really test out too many different loadings with factory loads because even those factory loads have certain variances. Whereas by hand loading, you can actually make sure they're all almost exactly the same, especially when you start using all of your tools to ensure that everything has the proper measurements. So like I said, I wasn't here to teach you how to reload because that's just not my area of expertise in the sense of being comfortable telling everyone else what to do and then someone blowing up their gun. That's not where I stand in the sense of being able to share that information with you. Am I comfortable reloading for myself? 100%. But that's something that you should learn from people who are better at teaching than me and from manuals and from forums and everything else that's out there in regards to the massive amount of information related to reloading. And I would definitely suggest you pick up a guide as well because it gives you all the loading data for like every caliber you can think of, and it's just there forever on your shelf then in case you ever need to access it later after, I don't know, SHTF. So these are my 5 reasons why reloading is a benefit for prepping. And it's not just about saving money or having extra ammo. I think there's a lot more reasons behind it that a lot of people don't necessarily think about, which maybe stops them from wanting to learn how to do it. And I think that first one, becoming an asset for your group, becoming someone who has value in the sense of, hey, I can reload ammo. I mean, do you need my help? That might be a big one, especially if you don't have those other skills that we all wish we had. Like, hey, I have no medical training in the sense of being a professional, right? I'm not a mechanic, right? I'm not an electrician. I don't have any of that background, but I can reload. And you might need more ammo. And in that case, I'm probably your guy. Think about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Add more benefits to reloading in the comments as well. I know there are more than 5, but I also want your input because some of you have really good ideas when it comes to this stuff that I just haven't thought about or maybe considered adding to this list. So I appreciate all of that feedback because it helps other people in the community too. And honestly, we should be trying to promote people learning how to reload more and more because it is an excellent skill to have. And if you need anything else from me, magicprepper.com is always a good place to go. And besides that, that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.